Hello and welcome to the Option Plus podcast. What a year. It was very interesting. There are many technologies that went further this year. We have experienced the birth of modern, maybe latest generation AI, including the open source models. We have experienced the growth of Nostr social network and many other interesting developments. And at the beginning of this year, I have wrote a short ebook, which you can find in my eShop, which is called Cypherpunk Visions and Trends 2023 to 2025. And the reason I wrote this short book is that I tried to write my latest main book called Cryptocurrencies: Hack Your Way to a Better Life in a way that would be a little bit timeless. So it should the content should be up to date and relevant maybe in 5 to 10 years, hopefully. So it's more about strategies, it's more about mindsets, the way to think and how you can use cryptocurrencies in your life to improve your lives. And then I was thinking about what is happening right now. At the beginning of the year, I was trying to figure out what my vision for the next year is, and that includes the vision for what is going around me, not only in my own life. And I wanted to see what is going to happen and what I would like to happen, specifically in the cypherpunk technologies and cypherpunk ways of life. So I wanted to see, okay, what software would I like to see, and it is likely going to be developed. What will be the main societal pressures that affect not only me but many other cypherpunks as well. And I wrote a book that was not so much a prediction of what is going to happen, but more like a vision of what I would like to see happen, what I would like to bring to the world, what I would like to help. And I came up with a list of topics, list of ideas, and I published the book. And then came Pizza Day in Paralelnipolis, which is a celebration of the purchase of 2 pizzas for 10,000 bitcoins. It's one of the most interesting and most significant events in the history of Bitcoin, because there was clearly now a market price of Bitcoin. So 10,000 Bitcoin buys you 2 pizzas. So there was a conference that is happening every year in Paralelnipolis, and at this conference, I wanted to present the Cypherpunk Visions and Trends. I deliberately chose a 3-year period because we usually overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but underestimate what we can do or what is going to happen in 5 years. So I chose 3 years, which is like not immediate features which you can see from roadmaps of projects, but a little bit longer trend, but not so far away detached that it would be either not achievable or completely detached from reality. So since the beginning of year, many of the things that I presented really happened. So I'm glad, and you can judge for yourself. And there are many things that I would like to see in the next 2 years. So I hope you enjoy this recording of Cypherpunk Visions and Trends, and it's from Pizza Day from Paralelnipolis. Have fun. So I had a few interesting conversations yesterday at the party. One was with Michael and some others, and one of the conversations was about the thing that people come to this place, to Paralelnipolis,
and they don't give a shit about cypherpunks and crypto anarchy. It's this feeling of, we need to predict the next price of Bitcoin. Hopefully it will be 10x. And whatever, the games are playing here, signing messages, onion routing and privacy and liberty. It's not cutting it for many people. They're not interested. So hopefully you are different. And I want to talk about the program of Crypto Anarchy and Cypherpunks, but not as it was written in the ancient papers of late 1980s, like Crypto Anarchist Manifesto, but what is happening now and what we can expect, what we can work on, and what we can play with, because I hope that this is a playful experience for most people. I wrote a mini ebook thinking about this, which is the same as the name of this talk, and I purposely limited it to 3 years, 2023 and 2025. I didn't want to, make up visions for a 50-year plan or something. So this is this relates also to other conversation. It seems everything's messed up in the world right now. We can probably feel it. The vibe of society is changing. People are kind of lost, maybe apathetic, maybe a little bit grumpy. And in order for us to build something better, we need to plant some nice flowers and trees. So this is the vision for us. It's not a vision for the whole world. So you can opt in to this parallel society, this cypherpunk world, but it's definitely not for everyone. So I will now go through a few things that are happening or that I hope will be happening more. I will start with the most boring thing, which is what the others are doing. So we see that there are many regulations, and the governments try to kind of squeeze every penny out of the tax slaves, out of the financial system, inflation, and so on. So this is something that we see. What most people don't see, that there is a counterforce to this, which is that some countries are going the opposite way, and they're trying to attract, the rich Bitcoiners to their countries to spend their money there. I wrote this paper, post-COVID economic recovery. It looks very serious. I wanted to write a policy paper as a joke, because when you criticize what is happening in the world, they will often say, "Okay, so you smartass now, so you tell us what we should do." So I told them, I wrote a paper. It's about deregulations. It's about making immigration easy, attracting people, not taxing them, allowing them to innovate, to do whatever they want. So this is what's going to be happening. What is interesting is that most states or statesmen, the politicians, the bureaucrats, they are in the mindset of, we are making the rules and you all have to comply. But that's not the case, because we are in a supermarket for rules. We can wake up and we can say, "Oh, this is a nice country to start businesses in. This is a nice country to grow weed in. This is a nice country for vacation. Oh, these guys are doing interesting things with money." So we can go and we can pick and choose. We can pick cherries, no problem. And we should do it. So we should really move our economic and private activity to where we are treated best. And there are countries that figured it out, and they're trying to attract us. Okay, so that's them. Now let's talk about us. So during the pandemic and after the pandemic, there was this growth of new lifestyles. People realized that they don't need to sit in an office to create value. If they're not sitting in an office, they can move wherever they want, maybe to a nicer place, maybe to a cheaper place, and so on. And they also can be on the move. You know, if their work is done somewhere on some corporate Slack or something, they can just sit in a camper van and do it. So one of the interesting thing that is kind of coming up and growing lately is an ancient libertarian lifestyle and philosophy of Vonu. I don't know, have any of you heard of Vonu? Okay, cool. No one. Look it up. It's a strategy, so it's not a prescription for the world how it should be. It's a personal strategy that you can apply to be in the condition or quality of invulnerability to coercion. So basically, what you are optimizing is you are trying to extend mean time to harassment by whatever, police and so on. So these new lifestyles are on the rise. There's van nomadism, digital nomads, Cyphersphere nomads, that's hopefully us. So we are moving some of our activities into this Cyphersphere. Of course, there are perpetual travelers and so on. So look it up, see if some different kind of lifestyle is not for you, maybe even part-time. I'm definitely enjoying my van nomadism and digital nomadism and Cyphersphere nomadism, so enjoy. Some interesting numbers. Just for the digital nomads, because Cyphersphere nomads are not that well measurable. But if the global digital nomad community were a country, it would be number 41 by population size, just after Canada and Morocco. It would be 38th most prosperous based on gross national income per capita, just after Portugal and Saudi Arabia. And the average digital nomad has a higher monthly budget than average income of citizens from the top 5 countries where digital nomads prefer to go. So this is not a small group of people, you know, the weirdos in cafeterias. This is a real economic force. And if we tend to them, if we help them, many of them have problems with bank transfers, with bureaucracy, you know, getting hired, and many other things. So this is something important. I think van nomads and Cyphersphere nomads are also important, but it's just harder to measure. One thing that is kind of rising is anonymous cooperation and anonymity engineering. At HCPP, we had a few great talks by, for example, Amir Taki and Rose, and they are working on projects to facilitate anonymous cooperation, such as AnonDAO. But we can already see, you know, Bitcoin was created by an anonymous entity called Satoshi, and it led to something interesting and something beautiful. What many people don't realize, that this has very important consequences for the project or for the result of the cooperation. It's not just, okay, we don't know the name of this person, but if we don't the name, we can't coerce the person because we cannot attach a physical body to the nickname. For example, if you have an organization and people are voting anonymously, no one sees the votes, you remove the signaling part of voting. You know, many people in these organizations vote in the same way as, you know, the important high status people in the organization vote as well. If you remove this and no one knows who votes how, then it's quite interesting. There's a huge development of the main primitives of anonymous cooperation. Of course, cryptocurrencies, end-to-end encrypted communication are both already in place, but now we are doing even more tools such as zero knowledge proofs and many other things that are kind of composed into these new projects. If we start using these, maybe we don't know yet. I don't think this has been tried enough, but maybe we will kind of switch to less hierarchical societal structures, and maybe we will kind of get rid of parts of our private brain, at least in cooperation. I like the phrase "shorting the state." My financial position is always short fiat because I would like to be on the upside of inflation eating the value of fiat. So I highly recommend thinking about it. I don't know if doing it. Shorting is not for everyone, but I think another form of shorting the state with much less risk is betting on parallel societies. So on this picture, we have a nice shipping container village, flea market, and here we can enjoy parallel markets, informal economies, and so on. For example, there has been a medicine shortage in Czech Republic. Yes, this is Central Europe, European Union, civilization. It's whatever, third millennium. Rockets are flying to space, and you cannot buy basic medicine in in a pharmacy. So this is something that actually parallel societies and parallel markets can very easily solve. It's a simple arbitrage. You go to a place where there is medicine, you buy it, and you take it to a place where there's shortage. So I hope people start participating in this a little bit more. Parallel markets. This is a picture of current state of the banking system. This is how most banks actually look like when you take off the pink glasses. And it's a very good thing that we have a parallel financial system that doesn't look like this. It might not be beautiful, high fees, scalability problems, privacy issues. It's not, all sunshine, but it's an option that we can use, and many people can use it. I personally believe that I've been saying it on this stage for a few years now, that stability in this world is gone. Just forget it. Nothing is going to be stable. We are in the times of chaos and volatility, and we need to deal with it. We need to get used to it and maybe use it. So if we do this, if we expect volatility, then we can switch our thinking and we can say, okay, everything is volatile. What is the upside? How can we use this? So that's one thing that I encourage people to do. It's a little bit stressful. It needs a lot of courage to admit that we live in a chaotic and volatile world, but it's much better than being in denial. There are many people that need this parallel financial system. People without passports, without IDs. There are many people that are unbanked for various reasons, and it's a significant part of the population that we should target. There are people in countries with very high inflation rates, such as Argentina or Turkey, and they need this. This is their lifeline. They need to have another option. But what is growing now these years is a category that I called banked but pissed. These are, I don't know if you know the small hacker device called Flipper Zero. It's like a universal hacking device with infrared and eye button and radio scanner and so on. They were rising, they rose the money for their project using Kickstarter. Most of it ended up in PayPal, and then PayPal said, no, freezing your account. So these people are pissed, and they want an alternative. And we have the the alternative. So many normal people, many average people that you meet on the street have these problems. Frozen account, transaction didn't go through. The user experience is horrible. You want to pay your rent and suddenly says, "Oh, before we send your money, please provide us current income statement and certify that you're not a terrorist." Whatever. The user experience is actually quite horrible, and we are building the alternative. The rise of Lunarpunk. Hopefully everyone here knows what Lunarpunk is. Cypherpunk projects either have to think about how to be resilient against state attacks. If they don't think, they will be probably put out of market. But that's a good thing, because the remaining projects that survive these state attacks are getting better, and the whole ecosystem, of course, is getting better. So if you have 10 projects and 3, for example, Tornado Cash or any other projects like this, if these are attacked by the state, all the users will move to the 7 remaining projects that were actually resilient. And that means that the ecosystem as a whole is becoming more and more resilient against state attacks. So there's this cycle, increasing regulation. We all see regulation is basically state attack. And that results in Cyphersphere becoming stronger. Of course, that also means that there's creative destruction, so some projects won't make it. This is a very nice illustration of the cycle from a beautiful video. If you haven't seen this one, please do it. It gives me chills all the time, and I've seen it already at least 20 times. So highly recommend to understand Lunarpunk and understand this dynamics. You can find it on YouTube. All right, we have hopefully pizza to pizza or peer-to-peer over-the-counter trades in Czechoslovakia. We used to call them vexlaks. So vexlaci, these were people who were doing illegal or gray market foreign currency exchange, and to states, the foreign currency are beautiful cryptocurrencies. We need to move from centralized exchanges, and I don't mean we need to withdraw our Bitcoin from centralized exchanges. I mean we cannot use these things. They're not peer-to-peer. They're surveillance systems. They send all the data to evil companies such as the chain analysis companies and so on. So we need to, get our asses out, go to some, nice hipster cafeteria such as Bitcoin Coffee in Paralelní Polis, hand out our cash and get our Bitcoin, or the other way around. In order to do this, Lea is maybe somewhere here. Here she will tell you about a great app that enables it called Vexel. But there are many other ways how we can do the peer-to-peer trades or find the counterparty. We need to start actually doing it. It's not about talking about it, but this is the way we need to interact on the cryptocurrency markets. Also, what will happen is the rise of proxy merchants, because if the transactions are more and more controlled, maybe if someone has this great idea of banning cash, we will have to use our cryptocurrencies for purchases. So if you want to buy a new car, you won't turn your Bitcoin into cash and pay for the car. Maybe you won't be able to convince the seller to take Bitcoin, but you will surely be able to find a proxy merchant that will do the transaction for you. You will send them Bitcoin. They will pay with whatever central bank digital currency is currently cool, and that will help you solve your problem. Oh, I forgot, of course, the circular economies. There are many very cool projects right now which allow you to sell your products or services directly for crypto. Please use them. We wanted to start a circular economy activity during Pizza Day, which is on Monday. And we would like people to list their products and services on one of these crypto marketplaces and really start using it. All right. Many times the corporations say, okay, you have a really nice app, such as whatever Vexel, Dark Market, Super Anonymous Crypto Wallet, and Anonymous DAO, and so on. But then they say, okay, nice app, but under paragraph 27, section 7C, you are not allowed to do this, or we want a 30% cut, and they will kick you from the stores. If they kick you from the stores, it means one very simple thing: you have no users. You may want to say, okay, sure, I have an APK that you can download and sideload to your Android and then, watch for the updates and so on. But most people will not do it. A very good alternative is something that is called progressive web apps, which is basically an app experience, but it's a website that can work offline and it looks like an app. If you want to try it out, one of the most famous is, of course, Pornhub, but I'm not going to tell you to install Pornhub. What you can do is you can use Twitter this way. I have found that progressive web app of Twitter is actually better than the native app of Twitter. So you go to the Twitter website, you log in, you click add to home screen, and you have something that looks like a normal Android or iOS app that just works, and it goes around App Store, updates itself from the web. So this is our way around the stores. It's not, you cannot campaign to Apple to make it better. Sometimes it might work, but if your app is not popular yet, they will just kick you out, and that's it. By the way, BTC Pay Server also has a point of sale system that works very good as a progressive web app. I think that also desktop applications are having a little bit of comeback. So we kind of stopped installing applications. We do everything on the web, but the web has a lot of privacy and other issues. So this is a way to go around it. So hopefully people will start using these apps a little bit more as well. Both of these are permissionless alternatives to corporate app stores. So there is no way for these companies to censor the progressive web apps. They will just work if it works in the browser. It's a web app, and of course desktop app. You just download the installer and run it on your computer. The other side of this is that there are these very cool low-code, no-code platforms. Also, new AI models can help you with coding. So I hope that this empowers people to create applications, to create websites. One of the good examples of a very good no-code platform is WordPress, which is an open source website management system that has so many plugins that you can do basically anything without it. Even if you run a yoga studio and want to accept cryptocurrencies, you install 3 plugins and it just works. You connect it together and you have booking, you have payment, you have everything. If you have a little bit more complex situation, you can either use AI tools to help you create WordPress plugins. People have been very successful with it. The other option is you can use tools such as Bodybase. It's a free and open source platform to create normal looking apps. This is an example. basically database apps without coding. So I hope that this works. Also, what people are doing and what you can see also in Cyphersphere is people are creating applications that do not have a web-like or desktop-like user interface, but it's a bot that you chat with, or now that we have a very good open source speech to text, you can even talk to it. So you can send a voice message to your bot that you want to do something, and it happens. So many of you are familiar with Telegram bots for whatever peer-to-peer trading and so on. So please delete Telegram. It's spyware, and install something else. But the interface is here to stay, and with large language models, it will become much better. You can just tell it what you want it to do, and it will work. Speaking of AI, we have these politically correct corporations that want to create the best AI that will, never be biased and will never tell you how to make explosives, and tell you that cryptocurrencies are very risky and you should be very careful. And we don't want that shit. So I'm very happy that the growth in open source large language models, open source image generation is here, and you can actually use these open source models. So for example, one of them that I like is currently Vicuna with 13 billion parameters and with a special tag uncensored. So this is trained on just normal instructions. It will never give you a, politically correct answer. As a AI language model, I cannot recommend you dangerous cryptocurrencies. None of this shit, and it's going to get better. It is very easy and very cheap to fine-tune this, so we need to play with it, but it's here. This is not a vision of the future. You can run it on your laptop or on your server today. There is, of course, Stable Diffusion, which is an open source image generation app. So we have many interesting tools, and we need to integrate it into our Cypherpunk toolkit. Of course, another thing that is happening that is going to open source and uncensored is social networks. We are integrating payments for content creators. So for example, for podcasters, there are many apps that allow you to stream lightning payments to the podcaster. You can boost, which means sending them a little bit more sats when you like something, and the podcaster actually gets the information. They see, okay, in this part, the person sent me this message and attached a few sets as a reward because they enjoyed what we create. Of course, if you are experimenting with parallel social networks such as Mastodon or Nostr lately, Nostr is becoming really good. You can zap these Nostr nodes, and you can reward the creators. It is much better, I think, than just mindlessly liking and getting or giving cheap dopamine doses to the recipients. Money means that you actually thought about it, that you think it's a good idea to have a little bit less of money because of the value you received in the Nostr node. Please get on Nostr. It's amazing. People are chatting about Bitcoin and Nostr and mostly nothing else. So please, gardening tips, whatever whatever you do, biohacking, whatever people do in their actual real lives, please come to the social network and kind of broaden the topics that are discussed, because right now it's basically a commit log of Nostr clients plus some shit posting about Bitcoin. But it's great. The user interface is amazing. It's mind blowing how it grew and how it developed just over a few months. So this is Cypherpunk tech. So let's use it. All right, sovereignty. I think in parallel there is a workshop going on about home nodes. We should be more independent from centralized providers, especially if they're surveillance companies. We can do things with these home nodes that we can just put somewhere, under the. I try to convince AI to create a picture with a node and a small bonsai on top of it, but the bonsai kind of grew out of proportion. But we can have this small machine. Many people have them actually, like network attached storage. We can store files, documents, photos. We can do backups there. We can do online live document collaborations, which is most people use things like Google Docs, but no, we can use things like Nextcloud to actually do things like this. We can have an VPN endpoint, so we can talk to our other systems in our homes, such as turning on the lights or and so on. And of course, we can have our own bank in our home nodes, so we can have Lightning wallets for the whole family, so we don't need to open channels for all the uncles, nieces, and whatever grandparents and so on. We can have a little bit of a DeFi infrastructure. So if you, as I said, I'm shorting fiat. For that, I need to monitor my collateral position. I do it from my home node. I don't use a centralized service because I don't want third parties to know about my collateralized position. And then we, of course, do the things that we do, smart alarms and so on. Of course, we can also run social network nodes. So if you use Matrix for messaging, you can run your Matrix home server. You can run a Nostr server, which is called a relay. So I suggest you look into this. There's a lot of development going on. What I would like to see is more integrated things that will give you one box with all the things that a normal cypherpunk needs in their lives. All right. Another thing that I really like that people are doing is decentralized energy production. I'm using solar energy. It's not only good for the environment, but it's especially good for you. If you look at it from financial perspective, what you are doing is you are basically hedging the price of energy. So you invest in this technology, you put it on your roof or anywhere where the sun shines and it's a good place. I personally finance it from collateralized loans. I'm not going to sell my Bitcoin because I want solar energy. So shorting fiat, please do it. And then basically you prepaid energy for the future. So if there's an energy crisis, if every crazy person starts charging their electric cars and the grid falls apart, you don't care because you don't care about the grid. You are using this type of energy, and you are especially if you also have a battery, then you can help your neighbors, help them charge their phones when the grid is down. Highly recommend looking into it. For me, it's not a money-saving thing. It's mostly about independence, and I think that the centrally managed grids are not very resilient, and it's not possible to easily go through this transformation, which will happen. I think we need improvements in user interface and capabilities of cryptocurrencies. When you go here to Czech Republic, I'm not from Czech Republic, and if you take your whatever Visa, MasterCard, and you want to pay, you don't understand what 570 Czech crowns means. I don't. I have no idea. It's just some kind of shell money that I don't use, but I can just tap my card, and the banks talk to each other, convert whatever shitcoin to whatever other shitcoin, and it just happens. We are very tribal in cryptocurrency. So, if you have a Lightning wallet, it will never, interact with a Monero network because that's not clean enough. I think we need to get rid of this thinking, and we should be able to scan any kind of QR code and pay with our wallet whatever shell crypto money the other party wants. We need the software to figure it out. We cannot, think, oh, should I pay with Lightning or Monero or Litecoin? Oh, what are the on-chain fees? None of these. Send, scan, okay, transaction done, paid, thank you. You got what you wanted. I sent what I want to use, and that's it. There are some other things that I would like to see. I think it's better to what's the time?
You're good. You still have time. You totally have as much time.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I will say one thing from this, but okay, we need better inheritance solutions. People die. It's very nice if they leave something to their children and family. I think we need collateralized loans because that is a good way to avoid selling your Bitcoin. And if you don't sell your Bitcoin, you don't have to take care of taxes. I really like Firefish project here. So go to their talk. They're doing exactly this. One thing that is very important is scaling the Lightning Network. It cannot rely on opening on-chain channels for everyone. It will not work. We have already seen that this is a problem. I wrote a blog about being able to expand the Lightning Network beyond the Bitcoin blockchain. I suggested the first good thing to do is use Liquid for some channels. This does not break any trust assumptions. So basically, it's one Lightning network. If a merchant wants to receive Bitcoin on-chain backed Lightning sats, then they receive just what they needed, and there is a transparent bridge. So basically, you have a backing on Bitcoin blockchain, you have backing on Liquid. There's a bridge, the unit of account is the same, and it's one network, and the payment can go through multiple channels, of course, and they can be backed on different chains. So if you want to receive your first $10 on your Lightning wallet, please do not open the channel on main chain. It will be too expensive. And I hope that at least some wallets will integrate this solution, because for $10, you really don't need super secure Bitcoin backing, and you probably want just for it to be cheap. So this is possible. I wrote a blog about it. If you do anything with Lightning, please do it. And the last part, we all need to live our lives. We all want to be a little bit better, and we want to kind of project these values in other aspects of our lives. So many cypherpunks do things like unschooling, voluntarist parenting. Many people are into personal growth, lifespan extension, biohacking, and so on. I really recommend not kind of playing cypherpunk and working for a corporation as an employee. Try to get out of the hierarchies. Try to be in this peer-to-peer situation also in your work relationships, creative relationships, and of course personal relationships, but they're mostly peer-to-peer often. There are things like nonviolent communication and so on. So we all want probably to be happier, happy or happier. We probably want to live productive, creative lives on our own terms. And these technologies, if we actually use them, can provide us liberty. That is something that we do not have in common with majority population. They don't give a shit about liberty. Most of the people actually want comfort, safety, and these other things. That's why they vote for politicians. We don't do that, but we have options how to opt out, how to break the OODA loop of the other side, and how to we have option how to get our freedom, but we need to think about these other things to actually live a happy life.
All right, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Cypherpunk Visions and Trends. The ebook that was the inspiration for this talk and a source of this talk is available on my eShop. You can find it under the video. It's hackyourself.io/shop. And it contains a little bit more content than what I could fit in this presentation. So if you found it interesting and like to think about these topics, then I highly recommend checking this short ebook. It's, I think, around 40 pages. So a quick read. Also, I highly recommend you check out my book, Cryptocurrencies: Hack Your Way to a Better Life. This book is available also in print and also as an ebook. And it's available in English, but also Slovak, which is my native language. I think you have noticed the accent. And also in Spanish now. So if you are not living in Europe, I recommend that you check the print version on Amazon, because they do print on demand and they will ship it to you faster and print it locally. It's also more environmentally friendly. If you read ebooks, I only read ebooks because books are printed on cellulose and heavy and take a lot of space. So my ebook reader can handle many more books. Those you can buy on my eShop as well, and you can pay for both Cypherpunk Visions and Trends and Cryptocurrencies: Hack Your Way to a Better Life, of course, with Bitcoin Lightning and also Bitcoin on-chain if you insist, and also Monero. So choose whatever cryptocurrency you want. I think I still accept credit cards as well, but if you want to show gratitude for my work, I much prefer earning Bitcoin or Monero. So thank you very much, and have a nice day. If you are a regular listener of this podcast, or if you found value in this podcast, there is a really easy way to show your support and help us grow. Download any podcasting 2.0 app such as Fountain or Breeze. They work both on iOS and Android. And then follow the Option Plus podcast and start listening. You can share your thoughts on this episode by sending a boost, that's like a payment with a message, and see what other listeners have to say or create clips of the best moments. Getting started is easy. You can top up your Fountain or Breeze wallet with a Bitcoin Lightning transaction or even a bank card. I hope this podcast brings value to you, and it would be great if you can support this podcast by paying us this value. You probably spent some time listening to it, so you already demonstrated it is not worthless. So it would be nice to reward the podcaster, in this case me, with what this podcast is worth to you. The alternative for podcasters such as me is advertising, and with podcasts that are created for the sake of advertising, you become the product and not the customer. I would personally like you to remain a customer, not a product, and I would like your support in allowing this podcast to continue in a sustainable way. Try it out. Thank you for listening.